Thank you for coming back for part 9 of our reading of The Skill of Lying, The Art of Deceit, The Disney Bloodline by Fritz Springmeier. The disclaimer video for Mr. Springmeier is a couple of videos back. I'll leave the link for the video in the description. We're on to a section of the reading titled Some Disney People of Interest. Over the years, the close associates of the Disneys is very revealing. The public can get a feel for Disney's attitude toward Illuminati bloodlines in the Disney movie The Happiest Millionaire, which is about Anthony J. Drexel Biddle and Angie Duke. Readers of this author's previous writings will recognize the Biddle and Duke names. In fact, the movie was based loosely on a book written by Cordelia Drexel Biddle about the Biddles. Existentia. His first name was Xavier, but was nicknamed and called X. He worked on the Haunted Mansion of Disney with W.E.D. Enterprises. He joined Disney in 1938 and was an assistant animator of Fantasia. Warren Beatty, born 1937 in Virginia. This actor is from the Illuminati Beatty family and starred in Disney's Dick Tracy. The Dick Tracy film uses color in a special way, and this ties in with the color programming of the mind control. Some total mind control slaves have programmed based on Disney's Dick Tracy movie for them to track down and kill targets, or people. Warren's sister is the famous or infamous Shirley MacLaine. Shirley MacLaine is not what she appears. Her father was a professor who was a CIA asset. She was used by the CIA as a sex slave. She became popular with the studios because she went to bed with the correct people. Her talents were used to get her as an intelligence slave into places that an obvious intelligence agent couldn't go. She was married to a man in the NSA for nearly 20 years. Her adopted name MacLaine, reportedly her mother's maiden name, is a pun on McLean, Virginia, where the CIA programmed her. She was used by the CIA in an operation in Australia where the CIA used her as a sex slave to compromise Andrew Peacock, an Australian MP, so that they could establish the Nugent Hand Bank for their dirty money laundering and etc. She is friends with the Satanist Stephen Nance, who has provided her with some of her teachings. Lowell McGovern writes her material. The CIA has programmed many of their New Age slaves to adore Shirley MacLaine. An example of this is Krista Tilton, one of their mind control slaves, who revealed in an interview how she considered herself a born-again Christian who had spent most of her life in Oklahoma, but had mysteriously been drawn to Shirley MacLaine. During her life, she has gotten repeated psychic urgings, that is, strong urges to do things and go places which she doesn't understand where these urgings came from. After hypnosis, Krista drew pictures of the doctor who programmed her. Krista has had a federal agent monitor her constantly. Her husband has seen this agent who has shown up on her doorstep and made calls to her. She names the agent John Wallace, most likely a cover name. This agent has a complete knowledge of her life, and government agents have taken photos of her during her supposedly alien abduction experiences. Krista is one of the hundreds of victims who have been programmed to adore Shirley MacLaine. Krista is mentioned here because she is one case that this author is familiar with. Warren Beatty, who peppers his speech with four-letter words, was a student at the Stella Adler Theater Studio in New York City. Shirley Temple Black. Shirley Temple Black sat on the Disney Board of Directors in 1974 and 1975. Her films were used for some of the early 40s and 50s programming and teaching slaves body movements and dance. She married someone in an elite network family from San Francisco named Charles A. Black. Charles A. Black was a lieutenant colonel in the Pentagon who lived at Bethesda, Maryland. Was Shirley an early example of brain stem scarring to get geniuses? Shirley's brother appears to have developed multiple sclerosis from brain stem scarring. It was Shirley Temple who co-founded the International Federation of Multiple Sclerosis Societies and was a member of its executive committee. Shirley represented the United States at the UN General Assembly in 1969, belongs to the Sierra Club, and has been decorated with the Cross of Malta. Shirley has shown clues that she may be an Illuminati mind-controlled child protege. Stephen Bolenbach. Bolenbach was a part of Walt Disney management and was a key figure who helped engineer Disney's $19 billion buyout of the CIA's Capital Cities, ABC, as well as sell the idea to Eisner. He's the CEO of the network's Hilton Hotels Corp. He recently has been involved with trying to buy ITT in order to put together the world's largest hotel casino combination. Bolenbach has an extensive background with the gambling industry. When the Justice Department began looking into the merger of Disney with Capital Cities ABC, Bolenbach resigned his Disney position. Warren Buffett, a major stockholder in Walt Disney. He owns 40% of Berkshire Hathaway Inc., which also owns lots of shares of Disney stock. According to the San Francisco Examiner, Buffett himself owns 24 million shares of Disney. Warren Buffett is a part of the Ak-Sar-Ben fraternity and monarch slave abusers who were exposed in the Nebraska saving and loan scandal. He is perhaps the second richest man in the nation and too powerful for anyone to touch. In the Kingpin versus Kingpin battles, some people close to the inside see Buffett as a good guy. Readers need to study the Lincoln savings and loan scandal and the scandal's connection to programmed child slaves at Boys Town to get more information on this Disney stockholder. Robert G. Hackstrom Jr., who is the portfolio manager of the mutual fund Focus Trust, which has shares in Walt Disney, wrote the book The Warren Buffett Way. Hackstrom has a chapter on Disney in his The Warren Buffett Way. He quotes Buffett as extremely enthusiastic about Disney's merger with Capital Cities ABC. Because of his enthusiasm, Buffett says, the odds are extremely high that we will have a very large amount of Disney stock. Salvador Dali. This strange, surrealist Spanish artist was a friend of Walt Disney. After Salvador was kicked out of Spain for Franco's belief that he was a communist, he came to America and worked with Disney Studios in 1946. Salvador, an eccentric who had no particular work habits, described himself, "The only difference between me and a madman is that I'm not a madman." The Tommy Dorsey Band. This band has had a number of men in it who are mind-controlled slave abusers associated with the network. Frank Sinatra, a sexual slave user, got his big break with this band. This band performed at Disneyland in 1984 at the Plaza Gardens. Tommy Dorsey was part of the network's In Crowd. When he was on a USO tour with Bob Hope, he stabbed actor Joe Hall and threw him out of a window. Joe had to have 32 stitches, but Joe didn't get justice. The judge dismissed his case against Tommy. Michael Damon Eisner, chairman at Disney, is a CIA asset and connected to the mob. Some insiders believe he is connected to elements of the CIA and mob that are anti-NWO. Even so, these anti-NWO factions also employ mind control. Eisner ignored a threat by Red China to boycott Disney products if he made a movie about the nation Tibet that China controls with draconian force. The UN, the Commerce Department, and the State Department all tried unsuccessfully to get him to back down on the film. The paper trail connecting Michael Eisner and Walt Disney Company to mind control is their support of the Boys and Girls Club of Napa Valley, which is used for a supply of children for pedophilia and mind control. The Boys and Girls Club is used to supply caddies for the Silverado Country Club, where these children are also used as mind control slaves for the sexual perversions of the elite. Notice that Napa's Silverado Country Club invites in celebrities such as CIA asset Pat Boone, Joe DiMaggio, ex-husband of sex slave Marilyn Monroe, Engelbert Humperdinck, a slave handler, Digger Phelps, Notre Dame's coach who uses slaves, and Jack Valenti, CEO of Motion Pictures Association, and Bohemian Grover. For a golf tournament, which is billed as a benefit for the Boys and Girls Club, the benefit for child slaves is they get to caddy and sexually service elite perverts. Michael came from old American money of a family that has been rich merchants and lawyers. Michael grew up in luxurious Park Avenue, as well as his family's country place in Bedford Hills near Mount Kisco, New York. He went to an elite private school, Allen Stevenson, which is famous for its elite children's orchestra. At the age of 14, he then went to Lawrenceville School, which is a prep school for Princeton, whose tuition in '56 was $3,000. Eisner's class included New York's governor's son and other sons of powerful men, such as the son of Saudi Prince Turki Al Faisal. The school is a prep school for the establishment's entertainment industry. Students are only allowed to see their parents on major holidays. Eisner was in the Pirouette Club, the school's drama society. His poor scholastic performance meant that he had to go to a small liberal arts college rather than Princeton or Harvard, such as was family tradition. For instance, his grandfather had attended Phillips Exeter Academy in Harvard. His grandfather has served in many government commissions and belonged to the Harvard Club, the American Club in London, as well as some yacht clubs. Between his junior and senior year in high school, Eisner was a page at NBC's headquarters in the Rockefeller Center. In 1966, he landed a job in the programming department of ABC. He had an influential position. Eisner had one good break for deciding TV programming. He was 21 when the target age was 21 years old, and when he was 35, the target age of the film industry was then 35. He has been described as having supernatural enthusiasm, coupled to a lifetime quest for the untested ideas. From the New York Times obituaries, May 1st, 1995, André Biddle-Duke, scion of two aristocratic American families who served as an ambassador to El Salvador, Denmark, Spain, and Morocco, who was chief of protocol for two presidents, died yesterday near his home in Southampton, Long Island, after being struck by a car while rollerblading. Thank you for sticking around for part 9. I apologize that I have to break the video up so much, but there are new rules, and rules are rules, so 15 minutes is the limit now for the videos, so I'm going to be breaking them up into intervals. If you were wondering what this picture was in the video, this is Krista Tilton. I'm going to leave the link for chapter 25 of the Dulce book, which is the Krista Tilton story, if you guys want to read it. Like I said, if you want me to read something, if you don't have time, a lot of people don't want to hold their phone in their hand and they don't want to do an audiobook. New information and some updates, maybe, if we can find them. The pictures help because if I can at least put a face to these people, and the articles help because if I could at least connect a story that matches with anything that this author is saying, that helps as far as the author's credibility in my eyes. So thank you again for joining, and I hope you come back for part 10. In part 10 of our Disney reading, we'll continue with some Disney people of interest, leaving off with Rich A. Frank, all the way to Frank G. Wells, and that will be the end of that section. And then it's going to go into some Disney movies. That should be fun. So I hope you enjoyed. I hope you can excuse that my S's aren't coming through. I don't know why. I know why. I need better equipment. But please excuse me and bear with me. And I appreciate you all. Have you ever been on a Disney vacation? Have you chosen not to go on a Disney vacation? I have a cousin who grew up in the Mickey Mouse Club, but it was on TV. She was really into it. I had to read this because she has kids now. She did not go. My other cousin has older sons. She doesn't like this stuff either, but they went for the fireworks. The kids wanted to bring me back something, and when she tried to explain to them that I didn't like Mickey Mouse, they brought me back this shirt from Disney inside the park. So, pretty wholesome, I guess, but it is weird. A lot of weird stuff surrounding everything. It's just interesting. It's no more weird or interesting than any other topic, but it is. Thank you again.